good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jayaan Benjamin, and welcome to our first webinar, Becoming Successful in Your Career. So thanks for joining us. So this is going to be a 4-part series where we will provide an insight perspective into the careers of 4 successful women and the challenges they have faced on their respective journeys. For more information regarding our upcoming events and webinars, join our subscription list or go to our website at shapeyourfuture.us. So without further ado, today we will be getting an inside look into the life of criminal attorney Nasira Khan. Thanks for joining us, Nasira.
Thanks for having me. Quite an honor and privilege to be part of this.
No, we are really glad to have you. You are one of the first people that we thought of when doing this webinar. If you could maybe just give us a little introduction to who you are, who is Nasira Khan?
I am a legal practitioner at Legal Aid South Africa. I'm not an attorney, but an advocate. I've been in the profession 18 years, and I've been in my current position 12 years. So I love what I do. It's something that I've always wanted to do, make a change, and I feel like working at Legal Aid South Africa for the poor and the vulnerable, I think I have reached my goal in that.
Wow, that is really amazing, and it's actually a long time. I think I've told you this before, but you seem so young for somebody who's been working for so long in the industry.
I don't want to disclose my age, you know.
No, I know, never ask a woman her age. Never ask a woman age. But okay, let's get started. I think the first thing that everybody wants to know is what made you decide to become a lawyer?
If I look back on my life, I realized very late or later on that I wanted to become a lawyer. What happened was I'm one of a set of twins. So my sister was very vocal about the fact that she wanted to be a lawyer, eventually become a magistrate. I was still deciding. And part of the reason why I was still in limbo about what to do was because people were constantly comparing us to one another. So as a result, I made a decision to do something that is totally, the opposite of law. And I actually enrolled for dentistry. But my first year. So it kind of backfired because the first month or two, I realized that this is really not for me. I was more interested in what my sister was doing and her friends. As a result, I then spoke to the lecturers, asked them if I can go over to law. They indicated it wouldn't be easy. I would have to work very hard. And I think I set myself up for the first year to prove a point to myself. If I were to do the first year, pass all my subjects, and do well, then I would have then made the right decision. And while I was doing my first year, I enjoyed it so much. I basically came out of my shell because I was a very shy girl. My dad wasn't convinced the first year that I was made for law, but because I had to prove to him, to myself, to a lot of people, that this was for me, I had to work very hard. And the rest is history. I mean, I managed to pass all my subjects, throughout my university career. So my goal was to make a difference, and I didn't realize that law would be the way to do it. Like I said, looking back, I've always been the mouthpiece for someone that has been treated unfairly. I'm always one to take on other people's battles, sometimes to my detriment. It just comes naturally. I might have been unsure on school, but I'm definitely not unsure anymore because everything happens for a reason. And surprisingly enough, my husband also was actually supposed to do medicine, and in his first year also switched over to law. And along the lines, we met at work, and now we're married 10, 11 years. We always say it's meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a little surprising because your goal was to change lives, but I kind of wonder how a dentist changes lives through changing.
I think I was a bit naive in thinking that dentistry would be the way. I don't know. But like I said, the motivation was also my sister, who I wanted to, do something opposite to what she was doing because of the constant comparison. But in the end, the fact that people could compare us in the legal profession is also a very good thing because it helps us motivate one another.
No, I can definitely see how that would, I wouldn't say cause a little bit of competition, but it does motivate you guys to work harder, especially since I think both of you are doing completely different fields in law. So there can't be that much comparison because, I mean, you guys are doing different things. But it still is nice to have, I mean, your sister and your husband, you kind of have people that can understand what you're going through in your family, which not a lot of people can.
It's a good thing, yeah. They understand what I'm saying. It's like when I'm frustrated, I just, it's a good thing.
So I guess from going with that, where did you end up? Where did you end up? How did you end up where you currently are at legal aid? What led you to legal aid?
Surprisingly enough, there's always surprises along the way. You plan your life a certain way and then things happen. Me and my sister both were planning on writing the assistant prosecutor exam. And it was while we were studying for this that we got a call from legal aid to come in for an interview. We joined the legal aid team. I worked in Stellenbosch. She worked in Mitchell's Plain. But when I started my articles, I convinced myself that this wasn't for me because it was such a rude awakening to what was happening outside. I mean, I was a very sheltered little girl. My parents didn't allow much free reign. Looking back, I think it was a good thing because the thing is, I immediately being put in a criminal court, having to do criminal matters. I started in the district court in Paarl, and immediately felt like this wasn't for me. It was just so like in your face, the type of crimes that was happening. And after 2 years, I left and started working at the Road Accident Fund. I loved it there. Such a nice environment to work in. People were so friendly and it felt like a family, But then that nagging feeling came back to me that I felt almost like I felt dumb, like I was missing out on court work. I was there for 2 years, and for that full 2 years, I felt like I needed to get back to court because I felt like I was not doing anything. Not that I'm saying working at the Road Accident Fund wasn't a good experience or anything like that. I loved it, but I just felt like if I wasn't in court, I wasn't being productive for myself. So I went back to legal aid after the 2 years that I was at the Road Accident Fund, and I was on contract for a while. And then I got the permanent position that I am in now. And every day is like just a journey. It's sometimes there's fun in court, sometimes it's really traumatic. But I missed it, And when I started court again, it felt like it was like riding a bicycle. The highs, the lows, the unexpected twists and turns. I love the fact that you learn every day something new. And I think a lot of young people, when they start in this or any other profession for that matter. They want to immediately roll in the bucks. They want to have that car, that house. But I think you need to realize if you want to go far at a place or want to go far in your career, you have to start from the bottom. I mean, I remember there was times in my articles that I had to wash up. I had to answer the phone like a secretary. I had to pack the storeroom in my suit, but I realized that I knew where I was going, in that I wanted to be a legal professional. I wanted to do court work. And then, the rest is just about putting plan into actions, taking it day by day, patience. I still can't believe that I've been so long at legal aid, considering who I was in my articles, a shy little girl, not wanting all this exposure to crime and stuff. But now I do worse matters, like rape, murder, robbery with a firearm, all those things. And you take it day by day. There's times when you have fun, like I said, but also you take the good with the bad. You get what I mean. So for me, that is why I feel it's a fulfilling career, because obviously it's hard work. It's hard work, and you must have patience. Sometimes you're away from your family for long periods of time because of preparation work that you need to do. But all the sacrifices, I think, are so worth it at the end of the day.
Well, that is actually so amazing. You actually said some things that I didn't even know about you. And it actually makes me think, what would you say are some of the challenges that you have faced as a female in such a dangerous career? Because, I mean, you spoke about dealing with cases like a rape, murder, So what would you say are some of the challenges?
You fear a lot, you are worried. I mean, one day me and my mom were having a conversation, and she was saying about a family member that has a dangerous career. And I was like, listen, I sit in the cells with some dangerous people, and I consult. So I also do a dangerous job. And then she just looked at me and she's like, I didn't realize. But the thing is, you can't allow fear, because we do get threatened. We do get threatened by clients that are not satisfied. We fear, are we doing the right thing in the trial itself? We fear, will someone attack you when you get outside of court? And there's also that fear of, am I good enough? Am I able to do the best for my client? There's a lot of things that you have to think about. But I'm the type of person that I won't allow fear to cripple me in any way. You get what I mean? Yeah. And with regard to females, I find that for female legal professionals, I think we need to work so much more harder compared to the males to stamp your name and make a name for yourself in this profession. And I know there's a lot of law firms and where the males that come to court dressed in their suits, and it's like, oh, they're the best, look at them, look at him, look at the way he's dressed. But then similarly, if it's a female that dressed like that, then there's so much negativity attached to it. Luckily for me, I work for an organization that really, really empowers women. Our CEO is a female, our regional head is female, a lot of management also are females. So luckily for me, the company that I work for, they're all about female empowerment. We don't feel like we need to prove ourselves so much more when it comes to, are we better than our male counterparts? Because there is a tendency to think that the females are the weaker sex, and no, she can't do a rape matter. She might feel for the complainant or stuff like that. But luckily for me, the stance at Legal Aid is that, we all equal, and we all can do the job to the best of our abilities, also in a similar manner.
No, I definitely agree. And I think being a female also, I wouldn't say gives you an upper hand in a certain way, but that compassion that you can I don't know, as a female, especially dealing with cases where there are victims that have been placed in situations that as a female you could be in at any moment. I think it just makes it a bit easier for you to fight for that victim than it would be, because I mean, you could understand where that person is coming from a little bit more than, if I don't say like a male, but I just feel like that you are able to relate a bit more to the victim in situations like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so the next question I would have to ask then is, what does a typical working day look like?
Typical before Corona. COVID has stopped a lot of typical work days because we're not allowed at the office every day. But basically, you get to the office after 7, do some admin, prepare for the day. We normally get to court before 9 o'clock, so you can liaise with your prosecutor and the magistrate with regard to the role at hand. On any given day, there'd be like 3 trials on the roll. And like I said, the type of matters that we do is robbery with a knife or a firearm, murder, theft of motor vehicle. Depending on if the matters or any of the matters run, we'll stay at court for quite a few hours, and then normally 2:30, 3 o'clock, we will finish at court itself. And from that time, from 3 o'clock, we normally go back to the office just to do more admin until 4 o'clock when we can leave. A typical day would be spending some time in the cells also, speaking to clients, prepare them for court, what to expect in court. But yeah, that's a typical day that at Legal Aid.
So it's not all action like you see on TV, where it's just like in the court doing.
I would have expected, a lot of people think that it's like suits, that high drama. Sometimes it's very, very quiet, very peaceful. Sometimes there's emotions running high, especially when people are sentenced, and you get family members in the gallery that like make a scene or whatever. But most of the time it's fairly quiet, and in the mornings it's more busy. But later on in the afternoons it's very quiet. But yeah, that is the typical court life. You walk in the corridors, you sell the cells. Not a nice smile at all. But it's not as glamorous as on the TV. Maybe if you go to the High Court.
Yes, but even though it's not as glamorous, it's still very rewarding, knowing that you've helped to change some sort of a life.
Yeah, it is, because you're a mouthpiece for someone. Someone's life is basically in your hands. A lot of people assume because we're lawyers, we lie. That is not the case. Our job is to see that our client has a fair trial and is treated fairly. And at the end of the day, we have an obligation, or we have to be a good attorney or advocate, legal professional towards our client, but we also have a role to play when it comes to the stakeholders, which is the magistrates and the prosecutors. I work with someone on a regular basis, so I can't lie to that person. I can't lie in court and mislead the court. So, yeah, because you get a lot of people that think, yeah, you're a lawyer, you lie a lot. That's not the case. We just try to do the best for our clients, whether it means negotiating, because you sometimes get the prosecutor will come approach you and say, I have this deal on the table. Would you consider taking it, speak to your client? And then we negotiate like that. You have to be a lawyer, you have to be a social worker, you have to be a negotiator. There's so many roles that you have to play, especially when you have child offenders. You need to work hand in hand with social workers, because before any step is taken, you need a report from a social worker to investigate the child's personal circumstances, environment that he grew up in, etc., etc.
Well, that sounds like a real crazy life. It sounds very fulfilling, but it also sounds like you do a lot. It sounds like you do a lot.
You do. But you get used to it after so many years. And you get to know people. And it's very important, whatever career you start in, you need to show respect to who you're going to be working with, to the people around you, whether it be the cleaner, whether it be the security official. I like to have a chat with everyone, because you don't know who you might need in the future. You get what I mean?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's important to have respect for everyone at court or anyone at your workplace. And have a nice working relationship, good working relationship, because you don't know who you might meet in the future.
Yeah. Well, I guess going on from that little beacon of advice, what would be some other advice that you'd give to students that you wish that you were given when you started out? Like that little bit of advice that you got to help you be successful that you wish you knew.
I think you once you know what you want to do, there's nothing going to stop you from getting to it if this is not truly what you intend on doing. I think you. Um, I always say to my candidates, there's no such thing as a mistake. You will get to where you're supposed to be. I'm a true believer in everything happens for a reason. Like I said about my husband and myself. Um, the thing is, I think I didn't relax much. I didn't enjoy life much because I was so hardcore working on what I wanted to do, what I wanted to become, that I didn't enjoy the moments leading up to this. Um, you'll get a lot of people along your way that are going to be negative. I had my father take me and my sister to a family member that was in the profession at that time. And he basically just flat out said, this is not for us because we're females. And obviously, I wanted to prove a point to him as well. Then also, I had a teacher who said that me and my classmates would amount to nothing. The point I'm trying to make is there's going to be negative people saying to you, you can't, you can't, you can't. But you in your heart know what you want. And if you take it day by day, step by step, don't give up. That's the thing. Don't ever give up. Even if it takes you 10, 20 years to get where you want to be, it's okay because in the long run, when you look back on how you fought to get to where you are, you're going to be so proud of yourself. And sometimes you don't need to prove a point to anyone else. Sometimes the point you need to prove is to yourself that you can do it. And it's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get up. So if you fall down 7 times, make sure you get up 8 times because that is a true fighter. I remember in my when I was on contract at Legal Aid, I went for 7 interviews and I was in the position on contract and I couldn't get the job. But then the 8th time that I applied outside my office. So sometimes, and I got the job eventually by the other office. So sometimes it's not, you shouldn't be despondent if you don't get it the first or second or third time. Sometimes you just need to keep on going, keep on applying, keep on, keep on getting up. Because
Yes.
that's apart from people who get what they want and people who end up blaming other people or their circumstances for them to not get where they want to be.
Yes, definitely. I mean, especially with getting up, not just taking the fall, trying over and over again until you get to where you truly want to be. That I think that is some good advice. I think I need to take that advice. Well, it's been a really wonderful having you here today to just give us little pearls of wisdom. And I know I will definitely use this advice, and I hope that the others will too, and whoever else gets to watch this webinar once we post it on the website. But I just want to say thank you so much for doing this and just taking this opportunity and time out of your busy day to just give little pearls of wisdom to everybody.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the fact that you thought of me. It's been a humbling experience.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye, people.
Bye.